Welcome! In front of me I have the ZTE Nubia Redmagic 8S Pro, which is an absolute mouthful, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick look at the device itself. Now, this device was released already, I believe like nearly a year ago, so I'm a little bit late to it, but better late than never. So let's get straight into it, rip that up. Now let's see if I can actually find the wattage of this with this absolutely despicable tiny little text. And there we go. So it is an 80 watt max charger. So that's pretty good. Anyway, that's all we get in the box. So let's just get that out of the way. Good enough. As you've seen, with the phone, we also get a plastic cover case. Can't really call this a case. It's like a backpack almost. So as you can see, in terms of protection, it's kind of minimal. That's as best as I can describe this. So yeah, now obviously the reason why it's kind of minimal is because it does need to have access to a lot of the things that are out here. So we have the little perforations right here on the side for the fan that is in the device, and that goes all the way through. And then we get our touch sensitive buttons right here, a little gaming switch, power button, volume rockers. So there's a lot of happening on the sides of the device, which obviously if you would want to make a case for that, there would be a lot of just cutting of it, like cut. So half of this would have been already a gigantic haul anyway. A little bit less on the other side, but in any case, that's the case that we get, which still pretty nice that we have one included with the device. Now, looking at the display, you can probably already see the outstanding display right here. This is a really like eye-catching display. Something about the actual not rounded corners just makes this look so much better, and the fact that you don't get to see this little hole punch camera. Now, this is, I believe, like their second generation this device is on the, well, not the newest one. So now I believe like recently they released the Redmagic 9 Pro. So that one I believe has the newer version of under display cameras. Here you can kind of see it on a white background, at least I can. There's a little bit of like a difference in brightness. So that's where the camera is located, but other than that, like I'm assuming if I'm doing anything, I'm playing any kind of game, I will not be able to see it. Also, yeah, right now it's no longer visible. So yeah, it's pretty well hidden. I am gonna try to grab my crappy little device and see how my macro looks like. So I am gonna just try to kind of see if we can see through macro. Now I will open up some kind of white background. Go to display and turn off dark mode. Boom, there we go. Let's see if it's visible. I do struggle to... Oh, there we go. Kind of see sometimes like a discoloration, like the flushing. Not sure if that's visible on the camera. There we go. That is pretty apparent right now. But you can see it is pretty good. So looking at the photo a little bit closer, you can kind of see it. It's still pretty densely packed in terms of pixels. It looks like it just does something in between the blue pixels. Now I do know it might be a little bit difficult to see on the camera, but still, that being said, it is hiding this under display camera significantly better than what, for instance, Samsung does on their device with the Fold. Let's see if I open it up, will it stay on? Oh, it does. Okay, good. So you can see it right away, like it's visible. And in terms of pixelation, it's also visible. Let's see if I can actually show that off as well. If I'm gonna be comparing these two, as these are primarily the two devices that tend to have this. Oh boy, that is like way visible. Yeah, and so showing that off, this is how it looks like on a Fold, Samsung Fold 4, exactly, and like this is just night and day. So yeah, there we go. Just a quick little comparison. Now, let's talk about the display itself, because this is a 6.8-inch display, so it's a humongous display. It is with a Gorilla Glass 5. It's an AMOLED display with 1 billion colors and running at 120 Hz refresh rate with a peak brightness of about 1300 nits. It also boasts an 89.1% screen to body ratio with a 400 pixel density, or pixels per inch. So one thing that I will mention is it has below 90% screen to body ratio, which I do have some devices around here in the office. Let's see if I can actually bring one up. So I'm going to compare this to probably this one, which would be not price-wise the best comparison, but in terms of design, probably the closest. And that is the brand new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. It is an overkill comparison, but this device does have a little bit of a higher screen-to-body ratio. So, pretty good comparison, I would say. Now, opening up the settings, so we have a little bit of a white background. You can kind of see them compared side by side. And honestly, this supposedly has 90 or 80. Does it have 90%? Let me quickly actually make sure. So I know that the Ultra didn't have the best one out of the S24 lineup. S24 Ultra, and also let's do Plus, because I do have that one as well. So this one has where is it? Okay, no, so it's 88%. So in this case, S24 Plus. Okay, so the Plus one has apparently higher screen to body ratio, which is a little bit disappointing considering that the Ultra is the highest model. So here's the Plus, and you can kind of see how that looks like. This is a 91.6% screen to body ratio with a rounded corners. I personally believe that the actual like more squared off edges, corners are just gonna look much better. I personally don't really like the rounded, it just makes it look a little bit less premium for some reason. But you can see the comparison. So this one supposedly has 91.6, this one has 89 point something, and honestly I feel like this one still has smaller bezels than the Samsung. So there we go, just a quick little comparison. Now let's talk about the rest of the device. So it does come with an LTPO dynamic, oh wait, no, not this one, sorry. That would have been the S24 Plus, not the Ultra, or not this device. So let's go back here. So AMOLED 1 billion colors. For some reason it says only in China, but I'm not in China. And this is running at 120 Hz by the looks of it. Anyway, continuing on. Because this device is a little bit older, it is being powered by a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which was the newest processor at that time when it was being released. So you're not really getting kind of like, you know, all the data specs right here. Right now, the newest Snapdragon is the one that is in the S24 lineup right here, which is the Snapdragon Gen 3. So basically a generation behind, but like I said, this device was released in 2023 January. So compared to Samsung's, which have just been released January of 2024, so there is a year difference between them. So obviously this device was and still is really powerful. Now continuing on with the internals, there's a couple versions in terms of RAM and storage. So the very base model of it comes with 128 gigabytes of storage with 8 gigs of RAM, and you can spec it out all the way to half a terabyte and 16 gigs of RAM, which is more than MacBooks Pro come with, because you know, more is less or less is more. You can just kind of check out Apple users that have laptops that cost 3 times more than this and have half the RAM of this phone. Anyway, processor and the specs of the storage and RAM are pretty good here. The battery here is also good. This is a 6,000 milliampere battery, and on top of that you do get a pretty decent charger, something that, for instance, device that costs twice as much doesn't. Samsung for you. So yeah, not only does this come with a, what is it, like 2 times, 3 times faster charging speed than the S24 Ultra, it also comes with a provided charger, because you pay for the device. So you would expect to have everything that you need to actually use the device. Anyway, see, anything else to mention right here? Let's talk about the cameras now. This is a gaming phone, so it's obviously not going to be the majority of the point of this device, but it still comes with some, so I'm gonna mention them. The main sensor is a 50 megapixel wide sensor, then we've got an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a sticker camera at the bottom, which is a 2 megapixel macro. You can record at 8K 30 frames and 4K 30 and 60. And at the front, under the display, we do have a 16 megapixel wide sensor. Now obviously this is under display, and it does a lot of software mumbo jumbo just to make those photos look respectable. Obviously they're not going to compare to other devices that have normal cameras, but considering they've been constantly improving on this, they do look okay. And obviously for gaming, you don't really care. You care to have like pretty sweet display with no obstructions, and this provides you with such a thing. So it's just a straight up slab of glass that will display content, and it will look freaking fantastic. Now let's see, one last thing that I'm going to check is we do not have a wireless charging on here. The speakers, let's see how they sound. Okay, I mean, gonna connect to Wi-Fi, if we can find it. There we go. And I'm gonna play some music just so we can hear also how it sounds in actual music scenario. While typing the password, I also want to mention haptic feedback on here is not the best compared to some other devices. Obviously, if you use the more premium device from something like Samsung, then this doesn't even come close to it. I would say it's good for the price. Considering this device costs about 650 euros, it is, I would say, okay. But if you want to compare it to some like actual flagships like Samsung, it's far from this kind of haptic feedback. Now let's open up YouTube, which this device does come with Play services, obviously. Let's do Let's go. I guess not. YouTube? Hello? Hello? Not the best representation of the first usage. Guess we also get to hear this a little bit. Or not. YouTube Experience 2024. Okay, fantastic. I guess I'm not going to be showing it. Anyway, that being said, it already did kind of give me a little bit of an insight. And the speakers do get loud. I wasn't even like maxing it out. It's more than I need. But the sound already like a little bit over half volume is very flat. So there is very little bass. And compared to something like I've been using for the past little bit over a year, it's far from the rich sound that this phone can produce, the Fold 4, though I am aware that this is just completely different price range, so not the most fair comparison, but I just kind of want to give you some understanding. So compared to this, something like Samsung Fold has a rich sound, a little bit more bassy, so it just feels a little bit more full compared to this, which is just what you would expect from a phone, what I would say, and not like a premium phone, obviously. Now, one more thing to mention is this device does have two speakers, one at the top and one at the bottom, and what they do, at least I think that's a speaker, sure hope looks like it. Let's quickly check it. Seriously, not gonna play music now. Yep, so that's a speaker too. So just wanted to check that. So yeah, we have speaker right here and right here. And when playing games, obviously you're probably going to be covering one of those. For instance, I would be probably covering this one. This one is not really covered. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to point that out. And see how these actually... start. So it doesn't have any kind of direction right now. It's something that you would need to set up through the settings when you're running any kind of game. All right, we can enable this one. Let's go. Does she say anything cringe?
That's not allowed.
Yes, she does say something cringe. All right, you can't quit this unless you turn it off. So there we go. Not much more to say about this device. We do have a fingerprint sensor which is located under the display, which I didn't mention yet. And we also have something that is unheard of nowadays, which is a headphone jack at the top, though we didn't get any kind of headphones provided with the device. And at the bottom we have our SIM card. Now this is just a SIM, no SD tray, unfortunately. So if you want to get more storage, you will just need to opt in for the more expensive version of this phone. And right now you can probably see that it is blowing out the camera a little bit. The display was a little bit too bright for it. But there we go. Now, one more thing that I want to mention is this device comes with something that looks pretty kind of like stock in terms of bloatware. I can see we have couple things that come with this device, though nothing egregious. There is no like even they didn't include Facebook, but they did include things like the booking.com, whatever that is, phone switch, which I assume is basically the phone cloning, so that's okay. And yeah, it's honestly, by the looks of it, pretty stock in terms of what it comes with, and like bloatware and stuff like that. And the actual aesthetics of it is also looking relatively stock to like normal Android. A little bit of a change right here in the notifications. As you can see, the toggles here don't look as stock as they do on something like a Pixel, but I would say it's relatively close to what you would expect, and a pretty decent device all in all, I would argue. It's honestly one of those devices that I'm thinking about picking up myself, as I do want to point out Samsung, the most garbage thing that I have purchased. is breaking down, and this is one of the devices that I am thinking of picking up if I can't manage to get this hunk of shit repaired. So that will be probably my new device if I can get that repaired. Anyway, so with that being said, obviously I am kind of excited about this device. It looks pretty nice, it has pretty good features, and I'm looking myself specifically for a device like this, as it's going to be older, cheaper. I don't really care that much for the newest Snapdragon. This one still will be stupidly fast, and I can pick it up for probably less than it was retailing at the release, meaning I can save up some money and still have a really good device. So anyway, with that being said, hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.